I'm Sahar, and this is Mindful Makers, a show that is born out of admiration, curiosity, and the desire to shine a light on people creating with intention, purpose, and honesty in our modern world. Our guest today is the talented, intuitive, and eloquent Asareh Ebrahimpour. Asareh is a multidisciplinary artist born in Iran who moved to the UAE when she was 10. Through the culmination of her first 12 years on this earth and experiencing being uprooted every 2 years, she found sanctuary and healing in the medium of art at a very early age. Asareh, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Same here.
So we first met on a project that I was working on at the time, which was DIFC Art Nights. That's correct? Yeah. We chose you to be one of our artists featured in the event. And I remember watching your live art performance there. And I was just so captivated by the way that you moved, the meditative state in which you entered to create this work right in front of everyone was so pure and genuine and vulnerable.
Thank you.
It was magical and very clear that you were expressing something that came from deep within. Where did you find such a deep connection with your art?
I think I should start with maybe childhood.
That's where it begins.
Yes. As you said, as I remember, we were literally moving city to another city every 2 years. And I felt this sense of detachment somehow. And I didn't know where is home exactly, what I can call home. Something that at least I can say it's a place that I can live in and I'm grounded. And gradually I felt like I'm kind of becoming more sad and things becoming quite a bit deeper inside me because I was losing them somehow. I can say like they became much more meaningful, maybe because I didn't have them anymore. And once we came here, we moved to Dubai for 2 years. We didn't go back to Iran. And I had a very deep depression. So
how old were you then?
Around 12. For that, from 10 and a half till 12 years old, I had a really deep depression, exactly the time that we stayed here and we didn't go. And I was growing up in a very like greenery with a river, and also it was
Lots of nature.
Lots of nature. And here it was, I just could have the sea. I'm thankful for it as well. Yes, that was a moment, I feel, which I felt like I'm really alone, and just the poem and writing, just both of them came to me. And I started writing poems and illustrating my poem. And I felt good with my sadness somehow.
It became your friend.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And I remember something that always my dad was saying, be careful to not be addicted to this sadness because for the artist it's quite a bit dangerous. It's going to be considered as the fuel. Yeah, but it's going to...
The seductive nature of sadness in the artist's world.
Yes. I feel like that was the moment.
And
That's
how old were you? You were 12, were you?
12. 12 years old. Yes. That was the beginning of writing poem and illustrating and painting as well.
And so you've sort of arrived at this realization at the age of 12 that within art you find a deep sense of release and connection and almost friendship with yourself, I'd probably say.
Yes, to be honest, it was because I was not able to talk pretty much. And I felt like even if I talk, I don't have the power to choose where I want to live. So at that age, you feel like you should follow what the family is going to decide for you.
Yeah, I think everybody has a certain extent of adopting or adoptive behaviors based on their surroundings or family or environment. Within self-expression and through your art, you were able to probably find something that was beyond all of that. So where did life take you next? I mean, what career did you start out as? Did you start out as an artist?
To be honest, I started still since I can say like since that time, I was writing poems, still illustrating, or sometimes illustrating and writing poems for those when it comes to me. But I studied math and physics in high school. I really loved physics, to be honest. Math a little bit less, and but I really wanted to study art even from beginning. But
What pushed you to choose math and physics, like these two really cerebral subjects?
I felt like still I have to stay here with my family, and I was not able to go back to Iran and study art. And then, because of the situation of that time in the family as well, I decided to see what's comfortable for the family too. I studied math and physics. Yeah, it was. I liked it more than the rest, let's say. Yeah,
They were the lesser of all evils.
yes. But to be honest, I liked it. It's the physics is still for me is very interesting. Yeah, somehow it made me in a way that I'm looking at the scientific version or perspective of anything, and I feel it helped me pretty much because even in the way that I work, like it has so many maybe holistic element, or even art is somehow holistic. It's like you feel good, but you don't know why you feel good. So you use this color, you feel really amazing or sad, but you don't know exactly what is it. It's really related to the senses. But I think by being in math and physics in high school, I decided to search more and see the scientific point of view, if there is any research based on, for example, this article, there is any research behind it or not. Yes, to see the logical part of it, as well as the creative side, as well as the holistic side, and see and look at it from the wider perspective. So, and for me, it's very interesting.
Do you feel like that informed your method as an artist as well, in some ways, probably subconsciously?
Yes, yes. Because later, after I studied interior design, I know, but I worked as an interior design, and then I quit. But after that, I started studying art therapy and somatic therapy, and I saw even in art therapy and somatic therapy, we need to learn a lot about human body. So many scientific version of us at the same time, so many bodies that we have. So, and that made me feel like it's very important to use art, because art literally is science somehow, and we don't see it, we just feel it. That's why we cannot come up with a conclusion that okay, it's very useful, it's a primary need. But I feel like during the corona, we noticed that there are so many primary needs, like anything that can connect us to ourselves, and art was one of them. And I was literally the busiest of myself during the corona time.
Right.
So I was teaching a lot, like morning till night. And I was not thinking, I thought that it's going to be a really dead year of my life, but it was totally opposite.
Wow, that's incredible. So I'm fascinated to unpack this Asareh that went from immersing herself in the world of maths and physics and transitioning into the world of interiors, only to sort of realize that there was an aspect of self-denial taking place within her, and moving through that in order to, I guess, rediscover yourself. What was the catalyst that gave you the courage to leave the world of interiors, which I imagine would have been a good, a reasonably paid job,
Yes.
security, stability, all those things. Where did you get the courage to do that?
For 5 to 6 years, I was working, so without vacation. And I didn't have that much of me time. And actually, I received a very great offer I was the head of FF&E department and visualizers. I was like, this is great. Okay, I've been working so hard. This is amazing. And we have a very big project. And after 3 months working in the company, I felt like God just really gave me more courage to go to work, just to go to work. And gradually my creativity was really, I could see that it's really dying. I was not even creative in a daily life. Mm-hmm. So nothing was bringing excitement in me. So I felt like I really need to take a decision. And I asked myself, are you really going to live the same way that you're living now for the next 5 years? If no, you have to do something. And I asked for off days. They said no. I said 2 weeks. They said no. I said 1 week. They said no. I said 3 days. And they said no. I became very angry. Yeah, I reached home. I resigned. Yeah, I stayed for 2 months and then I hand over. And then I decided to not go back to any corporate job anymore. Yes.
How did that feel at the time?
It was very difficult, of course. But I felt like I live once and I need to do something. If I don't do it now, maybe later going to be much more difficult. I will get used to it and it will be like part of my body, and then you cannot cut part of your body. So let's do it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the moment. And then I rented a place in Georgia, so I stayed there for a month. I asked everybody to not contact me at all.
You went offline, off-grid.
Yes. Yes, and then I rented the art studio. It was in the middle of the forest. Every day I was going there and I was painting. So it was a great experience. Even I was in a country that they were not able to speak English. So it was not very easy. But I felt really good. I could see art everywhere. Like,
you were living your purpose, so I think it became a very natural process for you, it seems. So going through that transition, which was obviously scary and also liberating in a lot of ways, did you find yourself gravitating towards any particular practices to help you navigate that transition? You know, how did you stay sane in a moment where you felt like probably there was no ground beneath your feet?
I think this spontaneous way of taking decision in me, I can say kind of led me to take more spontaneous decision because I just felt good. Maybe I didn't see any specific result, but I just really felt good. And I was asking myself, like, why we're living? Why am I here? What I need to do? What I have to do? And I felt like improvisation, I can say like improvisation was something that started becoming part of my daily life.
So right now you're painting a great picture for us. You're in this magical forest in Georgia and finding ways in which embodiment practices and connecting to your art in an uninterrupted and self-indulgent way, I guess,
yes.
To your heart's content, which is fantastic. What was the next step in Asareh's book? Where did she go after that?
After a month, I came back to Dubai and I felt like I need to learn more about improvisation. And I figured out there is a class, kind of intensive workshop of body awarenesses and physical theater, but underground in Iran.
In Iran?
In Iran. So I called a friend. I started discussing what I feel, what I'm really looking for to her. And she said, there is a class happening tomorrow. I can check it out if there is a spot. I said, okay, fine. She said, yes, there are 3 spots. I was like, okay. Then I booked my flight. And then again, I went to Tehran.
These moments of spontaneous action that lead you into a new phase of your life. It's fascinating for me because I also have Iranian heritage, and the idea that there's this underground scene there that is bustling and bubbling in the world of theatre is fascinating to me. So would you mind unpacking that a little bit for our listeners? What was that experience like? You land in Tehran and suddenly you're catapulted into this world.
It was very interesting. It was mixed, boys and girls. It was actually dance theater classes.
Was it open to the public or?
It was not open to 100%. No, definitely they cannot, for example, they cannot print a flyer and say this class is happening, or no, it's like...
By word of mouth.
Yeah, by the mouth.
And how did you feel participating in that? What did it unlock within you?
First, I saw that I'm the only one that is not into dance and theater, and the rest, ballerina dancers, and the people that they were already studying theater. And I felt like maybe I don't know anything. And I started listening and then really using my body, being with my body, breaking the patterns of my body. And it was very interesting once the instructor said, Asareh is a good example. I was like, for which reason? Let's see. And then he said, because you don't know much. So that's why literally your body, your information, and your creativity is not in the box. So that was a really aha moment for me that is still I'm using, I feel, in my workshop, that I'm not giving too much information and let people to be in tune with the body and let it come out. So because I felt like I don't know, that's why I was trying to really connect to myself and create something from within. And that was a moment that I felt like connecting to yourself, it's really the key. So if it worked for me, so definitely it's going to work for others too.
Mm. It almost sounds like it was a confirmation of your journey to embodiment. Exactly. And another level of getting to a deeper sense of knowing in order to cultivate your art through the body. So what happens next? I mean, you're already building quite a repertoire of a great metaphorical toolbox by the sounds of it. So we've got the world of maths and physics, interiors, embodiment. Your art is getting informed by theatre and dance, it sounds like, is entering the picture.
Dance theater, yes.
So what led you to start, I guess, your career now as an artist back in Dubai? Where did you go to after that?
So once I came here, I felt like I had the key of this land of improvisation. I trusted that everything gonna come. Okay, I planted the seed, of course, I'm giving water and it's gonna grow. Now it sounds like this. At that time, I was just wondering in this wondering feeling, Another friend contacted me and he said, Asareh, you told me that you were in Iran and you were participating in this. By the way, there is a Move Lab dance company in Duktak in Mall of the Emirates. Maybe we can go and check it out. He sent me the flyer. I went right away. And I met Monica Antezana. She's a Bolivian dancer as well as choreographer. And but she studied and she lives right now in the Netherlands. I learned a lot from her. I attended her dance classes and she said, I would love to have you as my assistant. I was like, me? I didn't study dance academically or even theater. She said, but I feel like you have the capability. I'll teach you anything that you need to learn. And I was like, this is amazing, so why not? I said yes. So I think for 1.5 years or 2 years, I've been working with her and I was attending her classes. She had classes even for kids. They was about body awareness. And for me, it was, again, very interesting because I saw that kids coming to the classes, even they don't know their body parts name, and they don't know how they can be 100% creative. They feel like they need to dance a specific thing. And once you start giving them 100% freedom and a bit of silence, you can see how creative they can be. Again, I learned that even from the kids. So they need a space, they need time, and less structure. Because even less structure is a structure. And improvisation has a structure, but we feel like it doesn't have a structure. And I learned pretty much even while I was being the assistant of her. And I brought this, still I'm using this in all my classes, even the normal painting classes to draw motions classes.
So tell me more about the draw motion classes. How did they come to be?
So I really enjoyed that moment of learning about dance theater, physical theater, body awarenesses and all. And I felt like I really want to express myself through my body, but I don't know how to capture it. I really wanted to capture that feeling while I'm moving. And I was like, I don't want a picture or video. I tried kind of expressing through different tools like painting, brushes, and I felt like it's not really, it's
Capturing
not the one.
the essence.
Exactly. Then I decided to use different things, anything that can melt, and I felt like charcoal is the one. I started expressing. Then I figured out that there is a Dutch artist having a performance using charcoal, but I was looking for a workshop. So I searched, there was no workshop at all. And I was like, what should I do? And I started feeling like, okay, it can be maybe the workshop like this. I started writing down like sketches, and I was like, okay, a bit like this, like that. And I was studying art therapy. And
You were studying art therapy?
Yes, through Transformation Academy from USA. So I studied there. And then while I was working at the same time, I think even the place that I was working, Soul Art Center, that unfortunately now is closed, I was running the art center, the art studio. So, and the owner had 100% trust in me, thanks to her, Miss Lama, that she said like, any workshop that you want to create, I trust. So just whenever you want to present it, just present it to me, and then we can go ahead. And she said that, sorry, why you're not creating anything that involves body? I was like...
So she must have noticed it in you and wanted to give you an opportunity to express that.
Yes.
It was written on your forehead.
Yeah. And but at that time, that art center, it was the only art center that we were actually teaching art therapy or therapeutic technique through body movement, through even art and painting and expressing through these mediums. But we couldn't call it art therapy. We called it art with twist.
Why couldn't you call it art therapy?
Still, the therapy, just the word, seems like I have a problem. And why I have a problem, why I have to come to you, and art is not going to solve my problem, and why I have to pay for art to solve my problem. I felt like maybe a medicine, maybe something like this, it's much more meaningful and it's much more convenient for everybody to pay for it.
To be more comfortable with.
Yes.
So the word therapy carried a certain weight to it, which I guess now has become very normalized, but people back then interpreted it as a problem that needed to be solved and felt a little bit vulnerable in that space.
Exactly.
So instead of calling it art therapy, you called it art with a twist.
Art with a twist.
Very creative of you.
Yes, we called it art with a twist, and it was really great. It was a really great moment. And
was that the first ever art therapy class in the UAE then?
I'm not 100% sure, but I couldn't find any art therapy center. Like when I searched art therapy center, I couldn't find it. And all the art centers, they were teaching just
traditional.
how to paint. Yes, academical way of painting. And we were the only one, and we had we had different art therapists that they were specialized in different things. Some of them more creative side, some of them more expressive. So we have some of them working with the special needs as well.
Wow.
So, and for me, as I was during the time that I quit from interior design, and while I was discovering and even doing working as an assistant in Move Lab Dance, I was working with the special needs and autistic people as well as a volunteer artist. So they called me volunteer artist. So, and I was using the techniques as well and creating different kind of workshops for them to communicate and learn at the same time. It helped me very much. I worked literally with all the special needs center of Dubai and Sharjah at that time. Yes.
Did you find, I guess, any scientific route to explain the depths in which art therapy works on the person's body? Like, had you by then studied any of that? Because I know from my own research that it does actually have a sort of psychological and physical effect on the body. Did you come across that when you were working in the draw and motion classes?
Yes, pretty much. So draw motion is all about listening to our body. And body is the first place we live in. We carry all the emotions, all the experiences, from even hunger to love to hate, the ideas. Plus, we carry so many inherited emotions at the same time that it's very hidden in our subconscious. At the same time, we have the collective subconscious that it's much more massive, so which is related even to our roots, literally.
Yeah.
And we don't know these. And it's like we are in a place, something is happening, and then we feel so tense because we can't express. So literally this emotion will store in our body. It depends where. And then it might give us pain, uncomfortability, and sometimes we might freeze in some specific moment, not necessarily the moments that it's very close to that thing that happened, let's say, to that specific. True understanding that the body literally is really storing all these emotions and we need to express them out. So I was like, okay, two hands at the same time, not necessarily symmetrical, but we need to really bring the non-dominant hand because it's literally our inner child. It's the one that we might ignore it most of the time.
Using your non-dominant hand.
Non-dominant hand. Because it's the one that literally is not very perfect as the dominant hand. And while I was talking about these and searching, I was talking with art therapists and psychologists as well. I had a coach at that time too. And I was talking to him, he's a neurologist too, and psychologist. And then he started opening up why it's important from the neurology point of view that when you work with two hands at the same time, so the connection between the neurons is going to be faster. Once it's faster, literally it creates a huge space in the brain. And this space, it's the one that we feel, it's the moment that we feel clarity. It's the moment that we are so calm, so in tune, so grounded, and we all need it. You're going to do this while they are capturing things, and literally they see it at the same time. It's not just they feel it, they move it, but they see it. So literally you're working on the blueprint of there.
Yeah.
And working with charcoal, which is black and white, I didn't want to add color at all because it's working with the highest contrast ever
from a visual perspective.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you need to see that because the brain recognizes this way. And the moment that it turned black, you might panic, but you might feel calm at the same time. We need these body reactions. We need to feel all this because white usually is a color that's it might represent a little bit of lost feeling, because the first thing they gave us, it was a white paper, draw something or read or write something, and we feel like, oh, I don't know what to do. And black is like kind of lost too, and at the same time I'm like sad, alone, what should I do, because we were in the mother wombs as well. So there are so many feelings coming up during the draw motion.
That's interesting. Coming back to what the scientific neurological side of things that I'm incredibly fascinated with, I know that there are 5 main sort of brain waves, and which one is it specifically that you mentioned is the sort of
Theta. So
it's theta?
yes.
Okay.
In the theta brainwave, literally, we reach to this state of between being grounded and between being a little bit high somehow.
Yeah.
If we want to talk kind of using very simple word.
Yeah.
It's actually the state that we are dreaming. And exactly is the moment that we are waking up from while in the morning, the moment that we wake up, still we are in the
that
theta
sort of
state.
Sleepiness. So
Exactly.
for the listeners who want to know more about this, there are 5 brainwaves. Theta that Asareh is mentioning is seen as the sort of connection with creativity, intuition, dreaming, fantasizing, and it's almost like a repository for memories, emotions, and sensations. And this is the part that seems to be accessed most when art therapy is taking place and you're able to sort of enter this state between wakefulness and sleep.
Yes.
Which we have every day, but we quickly jump out of when we look at our phones.
And while we are sleeping as well, we have it.
And when we're sleeping, which is also delta, right? Because you've got delta, which is, I think, the really delicious one, which is the lowest frequency of all. And it occurs in this deep sort of dreamless sleep. And it's actually funny because it's dominant in infants that are up to 1 year old. 1 year old,
Yes.
yeah. And I find that really fascinating because you can see this dreamy look in their eyes the whole time, and you can see that they're incredibly chilled.
True. Actually, it's very important as well because kids till the age of 7, some 6. So most of the times they are in the theta. So that's why for them understanding between differentiating reality and dream, or even your joke, sometimes is not very clear, because the moment that you see, I'm going to like give a big bite and I'm going to, for example, eat all your fingers, and they're like, oh no, my finger, no. Still they are in that
They
state.
can't differentiate.
No.
Yeah.
So that's why we need to be careful when dealing with them. So it is important.
Yeah.
It is important because you can really reshape and shape their reality from now.
When you moved into sort of the next chapter of Asareh's life, and you've got this incredible sort of space now where you've got your own studio and you're starting to produce your own work, were there any specific things that you would say enhanced that in you? Did you have any particular practices there that helped you, I guess, take your art to the next level?
So I can say breathing, it's the first thing that literally I learned to be just connected to myself and
Breath
to
work.
this. Yes. And that's the one that is really helping me, just to be looking around where I am. And it really depends on the mood of that day. So I might dance, and by dancing for me, I'm calling the energies. So, and I really love the calling energies because I feel like by calling the energies, I'm waking up the energies in myself. So I call the water within me to be flow, to be pure, to be connected, and to be really easily shaped. So I call the fire to be warm, to be ready to mature anything, to cook anything.
You draw on the elements.
So I dance with it, anything, while I'm calling them. So I'm kind of dancing at the same time. It really depends how it's coming. Sometimes I use the elements, like I turn on the fire, I light the candle.
She's not an arsonist, everybody. She turns on she lights a candle. Okay, you light a candle.
Yeah. If I was in the jungle, maybe I was
I can imagine you turning on a fire.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah, working
so
with
I
elements.
was, sometimes I really work on the element just for the water, I just put my shells. And then for the wind, I just put the feather that I have. So I'm kind of really connecting to the energy of even anything that I have. So I work on that and I put it on a different part of my canvas. I check it's the south, where is the south, north, and I sit on my canvas. I just stay there, breathe. If I need to dance, I dance. Sometimes I write. Sometimes I open a book of Hafiz or Rumi. I just read a poem.
Are they your favorite poets?
Many. Yeah, there are many. Mostly I just read, to be honest, Iranian
Poetry is incredibly
I just
therapeutic, magical, wonderful.
Yes.
All things to me as well, so I can definitely connect with that. It's really interesting because somebody once told me, Sahar, your body was designed to move. And that sentence alone stuck with me in such a profound way, because it's true. The minute that you put your energy in motion, that emotion into action, something very true comes out, regardless of whether, I don't know, you're going for a run or you're just going for a walk. It does help to tap into a very still and creative space. And I'm seeing that a lot amongst most people these days as well. I think with lockdown, everybody started to realize the power of energy and motion and how that can unlock a different world.
True, which is very important.
So on a typical day, what's a day in your studio like? You'll start off with a dance or breath work, and then what happens next?
Sketches, sometimes in a very small scale, as working on a very big scale sometimes is, it depends really. Sometimes I start, sometimes no. I just feel like I need to sketch on a very small, like maybe 40 by 50 or sometimes A4, and then from there I can see a bigger shape as well. And sometimes I just move without drawing. I just move with my body on the canvas, but without using any tools. And then I draw. And recently, so many writing elements, like text, words, coming to me to add to these draw performances that I have, and women's figure as well. Pretty much it's coming there. And I felt like writing is a very small form of dancing, because we're expressing while we're writing. We have emotion while we're writing something. And I'm using this small form of dance from everybody, like kind of adding to my big form of body movement somehow.
To bring you into the present moment and tap yourself into your intuition.
Yes.
It's a powerful way to connect, actually, writing. Are there any particular smells around you at the time? Do you need smells, or are you okay with just sort of...
I love Palo Santo.
Palo Santo, yeah, it's a gorgeous smell.
I really love Palo Santo. Yeah, most of the times.
So I'm going to take you on a trip now and send you to the moon, which I know that you love very much because you have full moon workshops and new moon workshops. If you could take one tool from your studio to the moon with you, what would it be?
Kind of difficult to answer. Intuitively, if I answer the only thing that just came, it was my Hafiz book. But if I want to think about it.
No, we can only take the intuitive answer because that's what a mindful maker does.
Then Hafiz's book.
And why would you take that book with you?
I feel like it's, I can say it reminds me that I have the soul. I have the soul in me, and the soul is bigger than my body, and my body moves because my soul is in it. And that's the meaningful way of living. For me, I feel like the poem is really, at any situation, any feeling that I have, the moment that I open it and I read it, I just keep reading and repeating the same, maybe just poem again and again and again. And I feel like it's so deep. It makes me motivated. It makes me just think deeper. And it's even sometimes asking me just pause, just to stop for a moment. I feel like it's like a friend with me somehow.
Encompasses all of the things that you want in your toolbox into one compact place.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Hafiz.
Exactly. Oh, God bless him.
Asareh, I've heard you sing before, and you have a stunning voice, might I add. There's something so, I think, how would I describe it? Mystical and dreamy about your voice.
Thank you.
And I remember we were dancing in 5 Rhythms at a
Yes.
recent workshop, and they played a track that was so calming and so, it was like a hug for the soul. And the instructor and teacher at the end of the class said, by the way, that's a recording by Asareh. And it blew my mind so that I just danced to a track that had your voice on it. On that note, I was wondering if you had to pick a song that embodied your essence as an artist, what would it be?
It's actually one of the poems from Saadi that says, تن آدمی شریف است به جان آدمیت نه همین لباس زیباست نشان آدمیت. The meaning of it means the human body is noble with a human soul, and this beautiful clothes is not the sign of humanity. But what is interesting for me about this, because it's written نه همین لباس زیباست, the comma, where you put the comma, it literally changing the meaning of the whole
Of the entire
poem.
thing.
Yes. So because if you say na همین لباس زیباست, it means no, actually this clothes is the sign of humanity, just with one comma before no and after no. So
Changes the entire
Yes.
essence. And I
Yes.
guess that's a reflection of your ever-going evolution and fluidity as an artist.
Yes, it is actually. And for me, it's really showing that what you choose really matters. What you choose really matters. It's like the comma somehow. You put it
Yeah.
here, so it changes fully the meaning of the entire poem.
It's
of
a
your
wonderful way to sum up the importance of intention and purpose in all that we do on a daily basis.
lives. True.
Because those are the choices that matter at the end of the day.
Yes.
Fantastic. Well, Asareh, thank you very much for coming on the show and for sharing your passion and vulnerability and story with us today.
Thank you so much, Sarjan. Thank you. It was really a pleasure to talk about the whole thing at the same time, and so many things again spontaneously came up. And it was such a nice and warm talk. Thank you so much.
It's wonderful to witness your journey as an artist and to unpack how you got there. So thank you again. That's all for this week. If you're feeling curious and want to know more about today's guest, then check out the show notes for more details. And if you like what you heard today and fancy taking this journey further, then click subscribe or follow us on Instagram at sorsha.edits and let the world of mindful makers become part of yours too. Until next time, stay open, stay mindful, and I'll catch you on the flip side.